The station of the stars. RTI.
Very good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. And apologies if you can hear some little noise in the background. That's the air conditioning on because it's so flipping hot. It's supposed to be quiet, but it isn't really. And I don't know why. But, it's one of those things. And my headphones are really giving me grief today as well. Everything's being naughty. And I don't know why. But it'll sort itself out, because it's like that. This is Postcard from Poprad. I'm Eric Wiltshire. We are sweltering in the heat here, which will make Rachel laugh again. That's twice I've done that already today. Once was talking to her when I got the microphone open in the studio, and the second time is because I'm saying it's sweltering. And Mr. Banks saw me with no top on today as well, which makes it even more embarrassing. But there you go. This is your alternative sideways look at the news every week here on this channel at this time. And we better say hello to himself, but I won't do it in the normal way because he's not there anymore, so I can't say good day to him. I've got to say, Hola.
Hola!
Hola! Hola! Oh no, that's Spanish, and you're in
like that because you're half naked.
No, you're not in Spain, are you?
No, never. No, we're in a secret location.
You're in Portugal.
No, it's a secret location. If I tell you where it is, I'll have to kill myself.
Oh well, I won't tell everybody it's Portugal then.
No, don't, because they'll all come and see me.
Oh, are you as famous as Jeremy Clarkson then?
Well, no. Jeremy's got the edge on me, but then he's a bit older than me, and he's been around a bit longer, hasn't he? You see. Are
you saying he's more rotund than you?
He's actually quite slim, except for the big wobbly belly bit, really, isn't he?
But
he's quite a handsome man.
He's been working on that, riding his bicycle.
He's like, I know why people say he looks like a great ape, because he does look like a great ape, but a very sexy, gorgeous great ape.
So he's a bit like you then?
Rachel.
What?
I'll tell you what he did on his birthday if he doesn't behave.
What?
I'm not telling, no, it's a secret.
I didn't do anything wrong on my birthday.
You got very, very, very drunk.
You don't remember what you did on your birthday.
That's why it was such a good birthday.
It sounded like it was very good.
And anyway, actually, I ought to say thank you to everybody for that again in a moment. But first of all, we've got across to Melbourne in the lovely Australia and go, hello, Rachel Bradston.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello. I nearly hung up because there was too much chit-chat about the most annoying and horrendous Jeremy Clarkson, but I won't hang up.
But we were only talking about great apes.
Yeah. They're what started the human race, great apes.
That's true.
Jeremy
Clarkson's going to be
No. I'm going to be... Rach, back me up on the science. We started as amoebas.
That's true.
I used to drive an amoeba.
Single-cell critters we all were. We were single-cell critters, and then there was a big bang. And
some of us
don't start me. Go on for hours.
We could. So I'll tell you what, we were discussing what we're going to do, and I've thought of a brilliant idea. Even though Leigh's just told Rachel what we're going to do, I've got a brilliant idea. Through various reasons of an internet screw-up, we ended up with two lists this week because Leigh and I put the lists together and combined them. So I'm hoping he's going to remember what we're going to do in part one. Because we will race through the one I did and not waffle on too much. And then we'll backpack in tons of stuff. So I'll be part one and Leigh will be part two and we'll get the whole lot in.
Ooh!
How about that?
Really? I've only got one version, so please don't go off on a tangent without me, as you tend to do.
No, I've only got the one list as well, so he's going to have to cue us in and be producer and be a professional broadcaster all in one thing, and he's a man, so he's never going to work.
I'm
I haven't seen the other version.
Neither have I,
Rach. Seen it or heard it, and I don't know. I don't like improv on the radio, Uncle Eric. You know I feel uncomfortable if I don't have a roadmap.
You are OCD.
Yeah. She's ready to
Absolutely. Anyway, this sounds funny, the first story, but actually it's something that really, really, really worries me. And people just don't get how some household appliances can be very, very dangerous if they go wrong. And this young lady was a well-known blogger in France, Rebecca Berger, and unfortunately, she's been killed. She died, and the reason was one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're like a big silver flask that you gas up with one of those little bottle things, and you put cream in them, and it pours out frothy cream. But unfortunately, they can, and have done before, explode. And this poor young lady was using one of these, and apparently she died of a cardiac arrest after the incident, despite all sorts of people trying to help her, and which was caused by an exploding whipped cream dispenser. So just be careful with them. You know, if you take them out into the sunshine, the gas expands. We're being scientists again, like me and Rach. The gas expands, and they can, because the pressure of the actual container is designed to be used in the home. It's not designed to be left out in the sunlight. And it's the same with people who freak me out. I go, oh, have you got any gas from your lighter? And they go, oh yeah, look round the corner. And they've got this propane, well, lighter fuel gas thingy out where the sun's on it. I'm going, ah! Run away, run away, run away.
They don't. My granddad used to have one of those, but he used to dispense soda water from it when he used to make the cocktails at the cocktail hour.
Well, yes. Well, we've still got one of them other ones. What do you call them? Soda streams.
Yeah. Yes. Robbie loves his. Yeah. Loves it. Loves it.
I love mine. But we have it not in the sunshine.
But it will kill you if you let it.
I know.
This isn't an isolated occurrence, is it?
No.
No.
Yeah,
it's very dangerous. You know what, though, Uncle Leigh and Uncle Eric? I'm about to tell you some nefarious things. I know that this particular device is used in a recreational drug manner way.
Yeah.
By inhaling the gas from inside the canister.
Yep.
And that's when people are coming to grief, because they take them out and they take them all around town, and then, just stuck off behind a bush and have a bit of a gas, and then everything's great.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It's very, very dangerous. Very dangerous.
There is a thing here, though. It does say, and this is what surprised me about it. There's a lot of people have been injured by these, but they say that the cans that have been made since 2015 are totally safe. Well, what? Excuse me, I've just choked myself. Well, why are you going to be using a can of cream going back to beyond 2015?
No, it's not a can of cream, Leigh.
It's not a can of cream. It's one of those.
Hang on, Rach. Thermos. I'll do it in English for him. Thermos flask.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Not the can of whipped cream that you buy from the supermarket.
No.
It's not that can of whipped cream that you buy from the supermarket, and when you're very depressed and sad, you squirt it directly into your mouth from the fridge while you're crying and listening to Celine Dion.
Yes.
It's not that one.
In fact, I'll tell you where else you see them, in some of the fast food coffee places.
Yeah.
Where they squirt the cream on the top.
They pour cream into it and then dispense it in a frothy manner.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, be careful, because they can kill you. That's the icing on the cake.
The trouble is, and I'm going to say this again as a public service information message, these things are perfectly safe if you do what they say on the can. You keep it in the fridge when you're not using it. You do the normal hygiene things with it. You don't take it outside. Leave it in the sunshine for 8 hours and expect it to
go.
Yes, because it can go boom.
I just wouldn't have a bomb inside my house. I just wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't bother buying it. If it's going to blow your head off because you've been out in the sun with it, just don't buy it.
Well, there you are. That's the answer.
Whippy cream the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I promise you we keep them short, so we are. We're moving down to Australia, ho, 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 because the WannaCry virus, and that's the one that affected the National Health Service in the UK and many other areas as well.
Is that the one?
Yeah, it's infected some speed cameras in Melbourne, hasn't it, Rach?
Well, yes, but everything affects the speed cameras in Melbourne. It's mostly vandals, but no, it's true.
Yeah.
This big virus has had its way with the speed cameras and all these very shady, different fines are getting pumped out all over. It's so funny. I can't tell this story without laughing. There's a whole thing. The whole thing about we're very. We're not very pragmatic when it comes to things like speed cameras and whatnot in Melbourne or in Australia for that matter. It's just people cry revenue raising and all this sort of stuff. But I mean, my old thing is that if you're not speeding, it won't get you anyways. I can't tell this. I can't without last story. There's a whole thing about the whole thing. We're very we're not pragmatic. We're not very pragmatic when it's like speed camera speed whatnot is in Australia for in Australia for that matter. It's a revenue crying and all raise stuff. This sort of. I mean, my thing is the speeding. If you're not getting it won't. Anyway, I can't tell this without. I can't. This story. Thing about the whole thing. We're very the whole thing. We're not. We're pragmatic. We're not very pragmatic when it cameras to think whatnot is speed or is in Australia for Melbourne. We're in Australia. People that matter revenue. It's a thing and all the cry stuff you raise. I mean, this sort of my old thing. But if my speeding thing is the get chance. If you're not, I think it won't. I can't tell this anyways without laughing. I can't get the story thing about. We're very the whole thing. The whole thing. We're not. We're pragmatic. We're not very pragmatic when whatnot is to think or speed Australia for and Melbourne. People in Australia revenue that matter and all. It's a stuff. People cry. I mean, my raise my old this sort of stuff. But I'm speeding. My get chanting is that if you're not, I can't tell this it won't without laughing. Anyways. I can't think about story. We're very there's a whole thing. The whole thing. We're not. We pragmatic. It's like camera. We're not very whatnot when it or Australia for speed and people in Melbourne revenue in Australia and all that matter stuff. It's I mean my cry my old thing raised if this sort of speeding, but I get changed. My thing is that I can't tell this if you're not without laughing it won't. Anyway, thing about I can't. We're very story. There's a whole thing. We're not the whole thing. We're pragmatic. Things like camera whatnot. We're not very pragmatic when Australia for speed, people and revenue and Melbourne and all in Australia stuff for that matter. I mean, it's my old thing. People cry if you raise speeding this sort of sketch in. But I might tell the thing is that without if you're not it won't. Anyway, thing about me, we're very. I can't story. We're not. The whole thing. The whole thing pragmatic. It's like camera whatnot or not very pragmatic when it's people speed revenues and all Melbourne stuff. We're in Australia. I mean, that matter. My old thing. It's if people cry speeding raise get chance this sort of. But I can't tell this. My without thing is that if you're not it won't. Thing about anyways. We're very. I can't story. We're not. We're the whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like camera whatnot or Australia. We're not very pragmatic when it's people think revenue speeding and all this and stuff. I mean, we're in Australia for that matter. It's a speeding. People cry get chance raise. I this sort of. I can't tell this, but without my thing is that if you're not thinking about it won't. We're very anyways. I can't. We're not story. We're nothing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. The whole thing is like camera whatnot or Australia. We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all speed stuff. I mean, my old thing. We're in Australia for that matter. Speeding. It's a get chance. Cry. I raise. I can't tell this sort of without. But my thing is the thing about if you're not. We're very. It won't. Anyways. We're not. I can't. We're story pragmatic. Nothing comes. The whole thing is like the whole thing camera whatnot or Australia. People are not very revenue when it and all stuff. I mean, my old thing. We're in Australia speeding that matter. Get chance. It's just, I can cry. I can't tell this raise without this sort of. But my thing about thing is that we're very. If you're not it won't. Anyways, we're not. I can't pragmatic story comes. Nothing is like the whole thing camera. The whole thing whatnot or Australia. People revenue. We're not very and all when it stuff. I mean, my old thing. Melbourne speeding. We're in Australia get chance that matter. It's not tell this cry without raising this sort of thing. But I think about my very thing is that if you're not it won't. We're not anyways. We're pragmatic. I can't come story is like nothing camera. The whole thing whatnot. The whole thing or Australia. People revenue and all. We're not very stuff when I mean my old speed isn't speeding get chance. We're in Australia for that matter. I can't tell this. It's just without people cry raising this sort of thing about. But we're very. My thing is that if you're not, we're not. It won't. Anyways, pragmatic comes. I can't. It's like story camera nothing whatnot. It's the whole thing or the whole thing. Australia. People revenue and all stuff. We're not very pragmatic when my old thing speeding isn't get chance. We're in Australia. I can't tell this for that matter without. It's just people cry raising about this sort of. We're very. But my thing is that we're not. If you're not, it won't. Pragmatic anyways. It comes. It's like I can't camera story whatnot. It's nothing or the whole thing. Australia. The whole thing. people revenue thing and all this stuff. I mean, we're not very old-matic when it is to think speed get changes, and I think not tell this in Australia without like that matter. It's a crying about raise. We're very this sort of but. We're not thing is that if you're not pragmatic, it won't come anyway. Things like the camera, I can't what not a story or nothing. It's a whole thing. The whole thing, people revenue thing and all stuff. I mean, my old, they're not very diplomatic when it's speeding. So they get chance to speed. I can't tell this without like we're in Australia. That matter. It's a thing about crime. We're very raised. This sort of. But we're not. My thing is that pragmatic. If you're not coming in, it won't. It's like anyways. Camera and whatnot. I can't. Or story. For nothing. There's a whole thing. People, the whole thing, revenue thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing. We're not very speedy when I get chance to think. I can't tell this isn't without like we're in Australia for that matter. About it's we're very crime raising. This sort of stuff. We're not, but my pragmatic is that comes if you're not like it won't camera anyway. Whatnot any. Or I can't really have a story. People, the whole thing, revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing was speedy. We're not very get chance when I can't tell this speed without like and we're in Australia about that matter. We're very it's crime raising. We're not this sort of stuff. But I'm pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not cameraing it won't whatnot anyway. Or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People think revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. Was it speeding? Get chance. We're not very pragmatic when I can't tell this thing without like speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing, revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing was speeding. We're not very get chance when I can't tell this speed without like and we're in Australia about that matter. We're very it's a crime raising. We're not this sort of stuff. But I'm pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not cameraing it won't whatnot anyway. Or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People think revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. Was it speeding? Get chance. We're not very pragmatic when I can't tell this thing without like speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing, revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing was speeding. We're not very get chance when I can't tell this speed without like and we're in Australia about that matter. We're very it's a crime raising. We're not this sort of stuff. But I'm pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not cameraing it won't whatnot anyway. Or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People think revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. Was it speeding? Get chance. We're not very pragmatic when I can't tell this thing without like speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing, revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing was speeding. We're not very get chance when I can't tell this speed without like and we're in Australia about that matter. We're very it's a crime raising. We're not this sort of stuff. But I'm pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not cameraing it won't whatnot anyway. Or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People think revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. Was it speeding? Get chance. We're not very pragmatic when I can't tell this thing without like speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing, revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing was speeding. We're not very get chance when I can't tell this speed without like and we're in Australia about that matter. We're very it's a crime raising. We're not this sort of stuff. But I'm pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not cameraing it won't whatnot anyway. Or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People think revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. Was it speeding? Get chance. We're not very pragmatic when I can't tell this thing without like speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing, revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing was speeding. We're not very get chance when I can't tell this speed without like and we're in Australia about that matter. We're very it's a crime raised. We're not this sort of. But a pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not gambling it, won't whatnot anyway. So, or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People have revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. If what's it, speeding, get changed. We're not very. I had it when I can't tell this thing without last speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing. What's it? If speeding. We're not very get changed. When I just think I can't tell this speed without losses and melting it. We're in Australia about that matter. We're very. It's a crime. Raised. We're not this sort of. But a pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not gambling it, won't whatnot anyway. So, or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People have revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. If what's it, speeding, get changed. We're not very. I had it when I can't tell this thing without last speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing. What's it? If speeding. We're not very get changed. When I just think I can't tell this speed without losses and melting it. We're in Australia about that matter. We're very. It's a crime. Raised. We're not this sort of. But a pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not gambling it, won't whatnot anyway. So, or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People have revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. If what's it, speeding, get changed. We're not very. I had it when I can't tell this thing without last speed. There's a thing about. We're in Australia. We're very that matter. It's a crime. We're not raising. We're this sort of pragmatic. But my thing is that camera. If you're not whatnot it won't. Or anyway, Australia for me. I can't
contact
story.
Rolex.
People, the whole thing revenue, the whole thing and all stuff. I mean, my old thing. What's it? If speeding. We're not very get changed. When I can't tell this speed without losses and melting it. We're in Australia about that matter. We're very. It's a crime. Raised. We're not this sort of. But a pragmatic. My company is that it's like if you're not gambling it, won't whatnot anyway. So, or Australia for that. I can't story.
Contacted Rolex.
People have revenue. The whole thing and all the whole stuff. I mean, my old thing. If what's it, speeding, get changed. We're not very. I had it when it's speed. I can't tell this without melting. We're in Australia for that matter. About it's. We're very crime. Raising. This sort of. We're not. But my pragmatic is that comes if you're not working it won't gamma anyway. Whatnot any. Or I can't Australia for story.
Contact
people
Rolex.
Revenue. Thing and all the whole thing stuff. The whole thing. I mean, my old thing. If speeding, what's it, get changed. I'm not very systematic when it's speed. I can't tell this without. We're in Australia. That matter. It's a thing about crime. We're very raised. This sort of. But we're not. My thing is that pragmatic. If you're not coming in, it won't work anyway. Camera and whatnot. I can't. Or story. Australia for people
contact
revenue.
Rolex.
Thing and all stuff. The whole thing. I mean, the whole thing. My old thing. If speeding, get changed. What's it? We're not very speedmatic when it's I can't tell this. We're in Australia without that matter. It's a crime about raised. We're very this sort of. But we're not thing is that if you're not pragmatic, it won't come anyway. It's like any camera. I can't whatnot a story or Australia for people revenue.
Contact
and all
Rolex.
Stuff. I mean, the whole thing. The whole thing. If speeding, get changed. What's the thing? Speed. We're not very systematic when it's We're in Australia. I can't tell this that matter without. It's a crime. Raised. Thing about this sort of. We're very. But my thing is that we're not. If you're not winning it, won't pragmatic anyway. It comes me. It's like I can't camera story whatnot. Or people Australia for revenue thing and all
contact
stuff.
Rolex.
I mean, my old. There's a whole thing. The whole thing speeding. Get changed. The thing was it speed. We're not very dramatic when we're in Australia for that matter. I can't tell this. It's without crime. Raising it. This sort of thing about. But we're very. My thing is that. If you're not, we're not. It won't. Anyway, pragmatic comes. I can't just like story camera whatnot. People or revenue, Australia thing and all stuff.
Contact.
I mean,
Rolex.
My old thing. There's a whole thing speeding. The whole thing get changed. I think speed. What's it? We're not very dramatic when that matter. It's a tell this crime without like raising this sort of thing. But I think about my very thing is that if you're not. It won't. We're not anyway. We're pragmatic. I can't come story with like cameras, people whatnot, revenue or and Australia for stuff. I mean,
contact
my old thing.
Rolex.
I think speeding. The whole thing get changed. The whole thing. I think speed. What's it? We're in Australia. We're not very that matter when it's a crime. I can't tell this raised without like this sort of. But I think my thing about thing is that we're very. If you're not it won't. anyways. We're not me. I can't pragmatic story comes things like people camera revenue, whatnot, and all stuff. Australia, I mean, my old
Contact Alex.
speeding. I forget chance. The whole thing. Speed and
No.
We're in Australia for that matter. We're not very. It's dramatic when it cry you raise. I tell this sort of without like, but my thing is the thing about if you're not. We're very. It won't anyways. We're not. I can't. We're story pragmatic. Comes people like revenue, camera, and whatnot stuff. Or I mean, my old
Contact
speeding.
Alex.
Get chance. The whole thing. The whole thing speed isn't.
No.
We're in Australia for that matter. It's we're not very pragmatic when he raises this sort of. I tell this, but without my thing is that if you're not thinking about it, won't. We're very anyways. I can't. We're not story. We're pragmatic. People come to revenue like and camera stuff, whatnot. I mean, my old Australia for speeding.
Contact
Get chance.
Alex.
I think the whole thing speed. The whole thing isn't.
No.
We're in Australia for that matter. It's a cry. We're not very pragmatic when this sort of. But I can't tell this. My without thing is that if you're not thinking it, won't think about it anyways. We're very. I can't. Story. We're not. People pragmatic revenue comes in and all things like stuff. Camera. I mean, whatnot. My old or Australia for speeding. Get chance.
Contact Alex.
I think speed. The whole thing isn't. The whole thing.
No.
We're in Australia for that matter. It's a cry raise. We're not very this sort of static when it. But my tell the thing is that without like if you're not thinking it, won't think it anyway. Think about me. We're very. I can't story. We're not people with revenue pragmatic and all comes stuff. Things like I mean, my camera, my old whatnot, or speeding. Australia for get chance. I
Contact Alex.
Speed. I think the whole thing.
No.
The whole thing. We're in Australia for that matter. It's a cry raising this sort of. We're not very pragmatic when it. My thing is that I tell this if you're not without like it, won't anyway. Think about it. I can't. We're very story. People, we're not revenue and all pragmatic stuff. Comes, I mean, mine's like my old thing, camera, whatnot, speeding or get chance. Australia, I think
Contact
speed
Alex.
isn't nothing.
No.
The whole thing. The whole thing that matter. It's a cry raising this sort of. But we're not very pragmatic when thing is that if you're not tell this it won't without like anyways. I can't think about story. We're very people. Revenue. We're not and all stuff. Pragmatic. I mean, my old things like camera speeding, whatnot, get chance. Or Australia for speed.
Contact
isn't
Alex.
We're in
No.
Australia. The whole thing that matter. The whole thing. It's a cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But my not very thing is that when if you're not it won't tell this anyways without like I can't get story thing about. We're very people revenue. And all. We're not stuff. I mean, my old thing comes to things like speeding, camera, get chance, whatnot. I think Australia for speed isn't.
Contact Alex.
We're in Australia for that matter. The whole thing. It's the whole thing. Cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But we're not very pragmatic when thing is that if you're not tell this it won't without like anyways. I can't think about story. We're very people. Revenue. We're not and all stuff. Pragmatic. I mean, my old things like camera speeding, whatnot, get chance. Or Australia for speed.
Contact
isn't
Alex.
No.
No.
We're in Australia. The whole thing that matter. The whole thing. It's a cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But my not very thing is that when if you're not it won't tell this anyways without like I can't get story thing about. We're very people revenue. And all. We're not stuff. I mean, my old thing comes to things like speeding, camera, get chance, whatnot. I think Australia for speed isn't.
Contact Alex.
We're in Australia for that matter. The whole thing. It's the whole thing. Cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But we're not very pragmatic when thing is that if you're not tell this it won't without like anyways. I can't think about story. We're very people. Revenue. We're not and all stuff. Pragmatic. I mean, my old things like camera speeding, whatnot, get chance. Or Australia for speed.
Contact
isn't.
Alex.
No.
No.
We're in Australia. The whole thing that matter. The whole thing. It's a cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But my not very thing is that when if you're not it won't tell this anyways without like I can't get story thing about. We're very people revenue. And all. We're not stuff. I mean, my old thing comes to things like speeding, camera, get chance, whatnot. I think Australia for speed isn't.
Contact Alex.
We're in Australia for that matter. The whole thing. It's the whole thing. Cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But we're not very pragmatic when thing is that if you're not tell this it won't without like anyways. I can't think about story. We're very people. Revenue. We're not and all stuff. Pragmatic. I mean, my old things like camera speeding, whatnot, get chance. Or Australia for speed.
Contact
isn't.
Alex.
No. We're in
No.
Australia. The whole thing that matter. The whole thing. It's a cry raising.
But run.
This sort of. But my not very thing is that when if you're not it won't tell this anyways without like I can't get story thing about. We're very people revenue. and all. We're not stuff. I mean, my old thing comes with things like speeding, camera, get changed, whatnot. I would also think Australia for speed and
contact
We're in Australia for that matter. The whole thing. It's just the whole thing. Cry, you raise.
But run.
What's it, this sort of stuff. But I'm not very mymatic when thing is that if you're not tell this, it won't without like, anyways. I can't think about story. We're very people revenue. We're not doing all stuff. Pragmatic. I mean, my old things like this camera speeding. Get changed. I whatnot is to think or speed. Australia for
contact.
We're in Australia for that matter. I think it's just the whole thing. Cry, the whole thing raise.
But run.
What's it? This sort of stuff. We're not very dramatic when my thing is that I tell this if you're not without like it won't anyway. Thing about I can't. We're very story. People, we're not revenue and all pragmatic stuff. I mean, mine's like my old thing, camera speeding. I get chance to think whatnot is speed or is Australia for Melbourne. We're in Australia for that matter. It's just nothing. Cry. The whole thing raised. The whole thing.
But run.
What's it? We're not very this sort of static when it. But my tell the thing is that without like if you're not thinking it won't anyway. Thing about me, we're very. I can't story. We're not people with revenue, pragmatic and all come stuff. Because like I mean, my camera, my old thing. I'm speeding to think it chance speed whatnot is and or in Australia for in Australia for that matter.
Contact.
It's a cry nothing raised. The whole thing.
But run.
The whole thing was. We're not very dramatic when it this sort of stuff. But I tell this my without thing is that if you're not thinking it won't think about anyways. We're very I can't. Story. We're not. People pragmatic revenue comes in and all things like stuff. Camera. I mean, my old thing. I think speeding, get chances and whatnot in Melbourne or in Australia for that matter. It's a
contact.
Cry. Raise.
But run.
The whole thing. The whole thing. We're not very dramatic when it's this sort of stuff. I tell this, but without my thing is that if you're not thinking about it won't. We're very anyways. I can't. We're not story. We're pragmatic. People come to revenue like and all camera stuff. I mean, my old thing speeding and get changed. Whatnot. We're in Australia or that matter. Australia. It's a cry.
Contact.
Raise.
But run.
Nothing. It was the whole thing. The whole thing. Not very dramatic when it. I can't tell this sort of stuff without like. But my thing is the thing about if you're not. We're very. It won't. Anyways. We're not. I can't. We're story pragmatic. Comes people like revenue, camera, and all stuff. I mean, my old speed isn't speeding. Get changed. We're in Australia, whatnot of that matter. Or it's Australia for cry. Raise.
Contact. But run.
What's it? Nothing. The whole thing. Not very. The whole thing. When it. I can't tell this without like this sort of stuff. But my thing about thing is that we're very. If you're not it won't. Anyways, we're not me. I can't pragmatic story comes things like people camera revenue and all stuff. I mean, my old thing isn't speeding. We're in Australia, get changed for that matter. Whatnot. It's a cry. Australia for raise.
But run. Contact.
We're not very. The whole thing. When the whole thing. I can't tell this without like this sort of thing. But the thing about my very thing is that if you're not. It won't. We're not, anyways. We're pragmatic. I can't come story because like camera, people revenue. I think and all stuff. I mean, my old thing. We're in Australia, speeding for that matter. Get changed. It's whatnot. Cry or raise. Australia.
But run. Contact.
We're not very dramatic when it's the whole thing. The whole thing. I tell this without like this sort of thing about. But we're very. My thing is that. If you're not, we're not. It won't. Anyways, pragmatic comes. I can't just like story camera. People, I have revenue to thing and all speed stuff. I mean, my old. We're in Australia for that matter. Speeding. It's a get changed. Cry whatnot. Raise. Or
run.
Australia.
Contact.
We're not very dramatic when it's nothing. The whole thing. I tell this. The whole thing without like. Thing about this sort of. We're very. But my thing is that we're not. If you're not, it won't pragmatic anyways. It comes to me. It's like I can't camera story. I see people think revenue speeding and all stuff. I mean, we're in Australia for that matter. It's a speeding cry. Get changed. Raise. Whatnot.
But run.
Or Australia. We're not very
contact
when it. I can't tell this. The whole thing without like the whole thing. Thing about we're very this sort of but. We're not thing is that if you're not pragmatic, it won't come anyways. It's like me camera. I can't story. I people revenue and all stuff. We're in Australia. I mean, that matter. My old thing. It's a cry speeding raise get changed.
But run.
Whatnot. Or Australia. We're not very dramatic when it
contact.
I can't tell this nothing without like the whole thing. The whole thing. Thing about we're very this sort of. But we're not. My thing is that pragmatic. If you're not coming, it won't. It's like anyways. Camera. I can't. I have stories to think. People and revenue and all. We're in Australia for that matter. I mean, it's my old thing. Cry raise speeding.
But run.
Get changed. Whatnot. Or not very dramatic when it.
Contact.
I can't tell this without laughing. There's a whole thing. The whole thing about we're very. this sort of. We're not, but my pragmatic is that it comes if you're not working it won't camera anyway.
I really.
I can't think story of speed and people
No.
revenue in Australia and all that matter stuff. It's my cry old thing raised if
But run.
speeding get chin whatnot. We're not very automatic when earlier for you. I can't tell this
Contact.
without
Alex.
there's nothing. There's a whole thing about the whole thing. We're very we're not this sort of. But I'm pragmatic. My thing is that it's like if you're not cameraing it won't.
I really.
Anyways, I think I can't speak stories and
No.
people in Australia revenue that matter and all. It's just stuff. People cry. I mean, my raise my old thing.
But run.
If what's it speeding get chin. We're not very whatnot automatic when it or you earlier. I can't tell this without like
Contact. Alex.
Nothing about the whole thing. We're very the whole thing. We're not. With this sort of pragmatic, but my thing is that camera. If you're not
really.
it won't. Anyways, speed. I can't. There's a story with
No.
we're in Australia. People that matter revenue. It's a thing and all. People cry stuff. You raise. I mean,
But run.
my old thing. What's it? If speeding. We're not very get dramatic when it whatnot. But or not tell this earlier without like.
Contact. Alex.
Thing about nothing. We're very the whole thing. The whole thing. We're not. We're pragmatic. This sort of comes. But I'm just like my camera thing is that
really.
if you're not, I think it won't still think anyway. Speed. I can't
No.
know story. We're in Australia for that matter. People, it's a revenue. People crying and all you raise stuff.
But run.
I mean, my old thing. If we're not very speedy when it get chin. Whatnot. I can't tell this or without like earlier.
Contact.
Thing about
Alex.
we're very there's a whole thing. The whole thing. We're not. We pragmatic. Comes this sort of thing. It's like, but I'm camera. My
really.
thing is that if you're not thinking it won't speed anyway.
No.
I can't. We're in a story for that matter. It's just people cry revenue raising and all
But run.
stuff. What's it? I mean, my old. They're not very dramatic when it's speeding. Get chin. I can't tell this whatnot without like. Or earlier thing about
Contact.
We're very
Alex.
Nothing. There's a whole thing. We're not the whole thing. We're pragmatic. Comes. It's like this sort of camera. But
really.
My thing is this thing. If you're not speeding it won't. Anyway.
No.
We're in Australia. I can't that matter. Story. It's a people cry. People raise revenue.
But run.
And all what's that stuff. I mean, we're not very old when it is speeding. I can't tell this get chin without like whatnot. Or earlier thing about we're very
Contact. Alex.
Nothing. We're not. The whole thing. The whole thing pragmatic. Comes. It's like camera. This sort of.
really.
But I find my thing is this: if you're not listening, it won't
No.
anyway. We're in Australia for that matter. I can't. It's a story. People cry. Raise people
But run.
revenue. What's it and all stuff. We're not very when my old thing. If I can't tell this speeding without like get chin. Whatnot. Or thing about earlier. We're very
Contact. Alex.
We're not nothing. There's a whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like camera.
really.
This sort of. But I think my thing is that if you're not
No.
it won't. We're in Australia anyway for that matter. It's just I can't cry story raise.
But run.
People revenue thing and all. We're not very dramatic when I mean my old thing. I can't tell this without like speeding. Let's get chin. Whatnot. Thing about or we're very earlier.
Contact.
We're not
Alex.
We're nothing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. The whole thing is like camera.
really.
I this sort of thing, but my thing is that
No.
if you're not we're in Australia, it won't for that matter. Anyways, it's a people cry. I can't raise the story.
But run.
What's it? People revenue. We're not very and all when it's stuff. I mean, might tell this my old thing without like the speeding get chin. Thing about whatnot. We're very earlier. We're not
Contact. Alex.
pragmatic. Nothing comes. The whole thing is like the whole thing camera.
really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that we're in Australia. If you're not for that matter, it won't. It's anyway. People cry. Raise. I can't.
But run.
Story. What's it? People are not very revenue when and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing. Speeding. Thing about get chin. We're very whatnot. Or earlier. We're not. We're
Contact.
pragmatic.
Alex.
Comes nothing. It's like the whole thing camera. The whole thing.
really.
I think speed this sort of isn't. But
No.
my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's it won't people cry anyway. Raise me.
But run.
I can't. What's that story? We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. Like, I mean, my old thing. Thing about speeding. We're very get chin. Whatnot. Or we're not earlier. We're pragmatic.
Contact.
Comes.
Alex.
It's like nothing camera. The whole thing.
really.
The whole thing. I think speed isn't this sort of.
No.
But I'm in Australia. My that matter thing is that it's if you're not crying, it won't be raised anyway.
But run.
What's it? I can't story. We're not very dramatic when it's people revenue. I can't tell this thing and all without like stuff. I mean, my old thing about if we're very speedy. Get chin. Whatnot. We're not. Or we're earlier for pragmatic. Comes.
Contact.
It's like
Alex.
camera. Nothing.
really.
The whole thing. The whole thing. Speed isn't.
No.
This sort of. We're in Australia. But that matter. It's a thing is that people cry if you're not raising it won't.
But run.
Anyway. What's it? I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People can't tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, my thing about my old thing. We're very speeding. get changed. We're not we're or pragmatic if it comes to things like
Contact
camera.
Rolex. I really.
The whole thing isn't
No.
we're in Australia, sort of, for that matter. But it's in my crying is the raise. If you're not
running
it, won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story. You can't tell this people without like, revenue and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speedy, get changed. Whatnot. We're not or really for pragma.
Contact
things like
Rolex.
camera.
I really.
The whole thing. The whole thing. Isn't
no.
This sort of we're in Australia, but of that matter, it's a thing is that cry if you're not raising it, it won't
run
anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, talking about my old thing. We're very speedy. Get changed. We're not we're or pragmatic if it comes to things like
Contact
camera.
Rolex. I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
We're in Australia, sort of, for that matter. But it's my crying is the raise. If you're not running it, it won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story. I can't tell this people without like revenue and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speedy. Get changed. Whatnot. We're not or really for pragma.
Contact
like
Rolex.
Camera.
I really.
The whole thing. Speed isn't
no.
This sort of we're in Australia, but of that matter, it's a thing is that cry if you're not raising it, it won't
run
anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, talking about my old thing. We're very speedy. Get changed. We're not we're or pragmatic if it comes to things like
Contact
camera.
Rolex. I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
We're in Australia, sort of, for that matter. But it's my crying is the raise. If you're not
running
it, it won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story. I can't tell this people without like revenue and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speedy. Get changed. Whatnot. We're not or really for pragma.
Contact
like
Rolex.
Camera.
I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
This sort of we're in Australia, but of that matter, it's a thing is that cry if you're not raising it, it won't
run
anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, talking about my old thing. We're very speedy. Get changed. We're not we're or pragmatic if it comes to things like
Contact
camera.
Rolex. I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
We're in Australia, sort of, for that matter. But it's my crying is the raise. If you're not running it, it won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story. I can't tell this people without like revenue and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speedy. Get changed. Whatnot. We're not or really for pragma.
Contact
like
Rolex.
Camera.
I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
This sort of we're in Australia, but of that matter, it's a thing is that cry if you're not raising it, it won't
run
anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, talking about my old thing. We're very speedy. Get changed. We're not we're or pragmatic if it comes to things like
Contact
camera.
Rolex. I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
We're in Australia, sort of, for that matter. But it's my crying is the raise. If you're not it, it won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story. I can't tell this people without like revenue and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speedy. Get changed. Whatnot. We're not or really for pragma.
Contact
like
Rolex.
Camera.
I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
This sort of we're in Australia, but of that matter, it's a thing is that cry if you're not raising it, it won't
run
anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, talking about my old thing. We're very speedy. Get changed. We're not we're or pragmatic if it comes to things like
Contact
camera.
Rolex. I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
We're in Australia, sort of, for that matter. But it's my crying is the raise. If you're not running it, it won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story. I can't tell this people without like revenue and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speedy. Get changed. Whatnot. We're not or really for pragma.
Contact
like
Rolex.
Camera.
I really.
The whole thing speed isn't
no.
This sort of we're in Australia, but of that matter, it's a thing is that cry if you're not raising it, it won't
run
anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when it. People tell this revenue without like and all this stuff. I mean, talking about my old thing. We're very speedy. Get changed. Whatnot. Or we're not really we're pragma.
Contact Rolex.
like camera. The whole thing.
I really.
The whole thing. to think speakers and this sort of thing.
No.
But I'm going to try that matter thing is that it's just, if you're not crying, it won't be raised anyway.
But run.
I can't story. We're not very dramatic when it's people revenue. I can't tell this thing and all without stuff. I mean, my old thing about we're very speeding, whatnot, get chin. Or Australia, we're
Contact
pragmatic. Comes off things like the whole thing. Camera, the whole thing.
Really.
I think speed this sort of isn't. But
No.
my string is that matter. If you're not, it's it won't cry anyway. You raise me.
But run.
I can't. What's that story?
We're
We're not very pragmatic when it revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very thing about whatnot speeding or get chin. Australia. We're not
Contact
pragmatic. I think comes the whole thing is like the whole thing. Camera.
Really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that if you're not that matter, it won't. It's anyway. Cry me, you raise. I can't.
But run.
Story was it? People are not very revenue when it and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, my old thing. We're very thing about whatnot or speeding. Australia for get chin.
Contact.
We're not. We're nothing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. The whole thing is like camera.
Really.
I this sort of thing, but my thing is that
No.
if you're not string it won't that matter anyway. It's in me. People cry. I can't raise the story.
But run.
People revenue. We're not very automatic when it's stuff. I mean, might tell this my old thing without. We're very thing about whatnot or Australia for speeding. Get chin.
Contact.
We're not nothing. The whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like camera.
Really.
This sort of but I think my thing is that if you're not melting it won't anyway for that matter. It's just, I can't cry story raise.
But run.
People revenue thing and all. We're not very automatic when I mean my old thing. I tell this we're very without whatnot thing about or Australia for speeding.
Contact.
Get chin.
Good.
I think we're not the whole thing pragmatic comes it's like camera this sort of
Really.
but I find my thing is this if you're not it won't be
No.
anyway. We're in Australia for that matter. I can't. It's a story. People cry. Raise. People
But run.
revenue. What's that thing and all stuff. We're not very automatic when my old thing. We're very I tell this without whatnot or thing about Australia for
Contact.
speeding. Get chin.
Good.
We're not nothing. The whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like camera.
Really.
This sort of but I think my thing is that if you're not melting it won't anyway for that matter. It's just, I can't cry story raise.
But run.
People revenue thing and all. We're not very automatic when I mean my old thing. I tell this we're very without whatnot thing about or Australia for speeding.
Contact.
Get chin.
Good.
I think we're not the whole thing pragmatic comes it's like camera this sort of
Really.
but I find my thing is this if you're not it won't anyway. We're in Australia for that matter. I can't. It's a story. People cry. Raise. People
But run.
revenue. What's that thing and all stuff. We're not very automatic when my old thing. We're very I tell this without whatnot or thing about Australia for
Contact.
speeding. Get chin.
Good.
We're not nothing. The whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like camera.
Really.
This sort of but I think my thing is that if you're not melting it won't Australia anyway for that matter. It's just, I can't cry story raise.
But run.
People revenue thing and all. We're not very automatic when I mean my old thing. I tell this we're very without whatnot thing about or Australia for speeding.
Contact.
Get chin.
Good.
I think we're not the whole thing pragmatic comes it's like camera this sort of
Really.
but I find my thing is this if you're not it won't anyway. We're in Australia for that matter. I can't. It's a story. People cry. Raise. People
But run.
revenue. What's that thing and all stuff. We're not very automatic when my old thing. We're very I tell this without whatnot or thing about Australia for
Contact.
speeding. Get chin.
Good.
We're not nothing. The whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like camera.
Really.
This sort of but I think my thing is that if you're not melting it won't Australia anyway for that matter. It's just, I can't cry story raise.
But run.
People revenue thing and all. We're not very automatic when I mean my old thing. I tell this we're very without whatnot thing about or Australia for speeding.
Contact.
Get chin.
Good.
I think we're not the whole thing pragmatic comes it's like camera this sort of
Really.
but I find my thing is this if you're not it won't melt anyway. We're in Australia for that matter. I can't. It's a story. People cry. Raise. People
But run.
revenue. What's that thing and all stuff. We're not very automatic when my old thing. We're very I tell this without whatnot or thing about Australia for
Contact.
speeding. Get chin.
Good.
We're not nothing. The whole thing pragmatic. The whole thing comes. It's like
Wild night.
camera.
Really.
This sort of stuff. But I think my feeling is that if you're not melting it, it won't. We're in Australia anyway, for that matter. It's I can't cry story raising.
Run.
People with revenue thing and all. We're not very dramatic when my old thing. I tell this we're very without whatnot thing about Australia for this speeding
Contact.
Get change.
Alex.
I think we're not the whole thing pragmatic comes.
Wild night.
It's like camera.
Really.
I this sort of thing, but my thing is that if you're not in Australia, it won't for that matter. Anyways, it's in me. People cry. I can't raise a story.
But run.
People revenue. We're not very automatic when it's stuff. Yeah. I mean, might tell this my old thing without. We're very thing about whatnot. Or Australia for speeding. Get change.
Contact. Alex.
I think the whole thing. We're not the whole thing. We're pragmatic.
Wild night.
Comes camera. It's like
really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that we're in Australia. If you're not for that matter, it won't. It's anyway. People cry when you raise. I can't.
But run.
Story was it? People are not very revenue when anything and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing, we're very thing about whatnot or speeding. Australia for get change.
Contact. Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic camera comes.
Really.
It's like I think speed this sort of thing. But my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's in it won't. People cry anyway. You raise me.
But run.
I can't. Story. We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very about whatnot speeding or get change. Australia. I think
Contact.
The whole thing.
Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic comes camera. It's like
really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that we're in Australia. If you're not for that matter, it won't. It's anyway. People cry when you raise. I can't.
But run.
Story was it? People are not very revenue when anything and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing, we're very thing about whatnot or speeding. Australia for get change.
Contact. Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic camera comes.
Really.
It's like I think speed this sort of thing. But my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's in it won't. People cry anyway. You raise me.
But run.
I can't. Story. We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very about whatnot speeding or get change. Australia. I think
Contact.
The whole thing.
Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic comes camera. It's like
really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that we're in Australia. If you're not for that matter, it won't. It's anyway. People cry when you raise. I can't.
But run.
Story was it? People are not very revenue when anything and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing, we're very thing about whatnot or speeding. Australia for get change.
Contact. Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic camera comes.
Really.
It's like I think speed this sort of thing. But my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's in it won't. People cry anyway. You raise me.
But run.
I can't. Story. We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very about whatnot speeding or get change. Australia. I think
Contact.
The whole thing.
Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic comes camera. It's like
really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that we're in Australia. If you're not for that matter, it won't. It's anyway. People cry when you raise. I can't.
But run.
Story was it? People are not very revenue when anything and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing, we're very thing about whatnot or speeding. Australia for get change.
Contact. Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic camera comes.
Really.
It's like I think speed this sort of thing. But my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's in it won't. People cry anyway. You raise me.
But run.
I can't. Story. We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very about whatnot speeding or get change. Australia. I think
Contact.
The whole thing.
Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic comes camera. It's like
really.
I think this sort of speed, but my thing is that we're in Australia. If you're not for that matter, it won't. It's anyway. People cry when you raise. I can't.
But run.
Story was it? People are not very revenue when anything and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing, we're very thing about whatnot or speeding. Australia for get change.
Contact. Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Wild night.
Pragmatic camera comes.
Really.
It's like I think speed this sort of thing. But my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's in it won't. People cry anyway. You raise me.
But run.
I can't. Story. We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very about whatnot speeding or get change. Australia.
Contact.
The whole thing.
Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Oh, no.
We're pragmatic. Comes Cameron is like.
Really.
I think this sort of speed, but this is my thing is that if you're not that matter, it won't. It's anyway. Look, cry erase. I can't.
But run.
Story was it?
Actually,
People are not very revenue addict when and all stuff. I can't tell this. I mean, without my old thing, we're very thing about what not if or speeding. Really, forget you.
Contact. Alex.
The whole thing. The whole thing. We're not.
Oh, no.
Pragmatic.
And the
Cameron comes.
Really.
It's like I think speed this sort of isn't. But my thing is that matter. If you're not, it's it won't cry anyway. Erase me.
But run.
I can't. What's the story?
Actually,
We're not very pragmatic when revenue thing and all. I can't tell this stuff without. I mean, my old thing. We're very thinking about what not is speeding or get you. Really, I think
Contact.
the whole thing.
Alex.
The whole thing. We're not.
Oh, no.
And the
pragmatic Cameron.
Really.
Comes. I think it's like to think speed isn't this sort of
no.
But I'm just trying. My that matter thing is that it's just, if you're not crying, it won't erase anyway.
But run.
I can't. Story. We're not very pragmatic when it's people revenue. I can't tell this thing and all without stuff. I mean, my old thing about we're very speeding. What not to get you or really. I think the whole thing.
Contact.
The whole thing.
Alex. Oh, no.
We're not.
And the
Cameron pragmatic.
Really.
I think it comes to things like speed isn't this sort of stuff. But that matter. It's a thing is that cry if you're not erasing it won't.
But run.
Anyway. I can't. We're not very storymatic when
Actually, run.
people don't tell this revenue without lying and all this stuff. I mean, my thing about my old thing. We're very speeding. Get you what not or nothing. Really, the whole thing. The whole thing.
Contact. Alex. Oh, no.
And the
we're not Cameron. We're
really
pragmatic. I think comes speed is like isn't
no.
We're in Australia, this sort of that matter. But it's my crying is that erase if you're not running it won't. Anyway, we're not very. I can't when it's story.
Actually,
I can't tell this people without like revenue thing and all stuff. Thing about. I mean, my old that if we're very speeding, get you what not nothing or the whole thing. Really, the whole thing.
Contact. Oh, no, Alex.
And the
Cameron. We're not
really.
I think pragmatic think speed comes and it's like
no.
We're in Australia for that matter. This sort of it's just, but I'm crying. My raising is that
but run
if you're not it won't anyway. We're not very pragmatic when I can't story. I can't tell this
actually,
without like people the revenue thing and all thing about stuff. I mean, my old speeding. We're very get you nothing what not is the whole thing or the whole thing. Really,
oh, no. Contact.
And the
Alex.
Cameron.
Really.
We're not. I was to think pragmatic speed isn't come to
no.
It's like we're in Australia that matter. It's a this sort of cry, but erase. My thing is that if you're not it won't. We're not very anyway. When I can't tell this story without like.
Actually,
there's people get revenue thing about thing and all stuff. But if I mean my speeding, my old get you. We're very nothing. The whole thing. What not the whole thing. Or really.
Oh, no.
And the
contact.
Cameron.
Alex. Really.
We're not to think with speed pragmatism.
No.
We're in Australia like that matter. It's just cry this sort of erase.
But run.
My
goal. And what he was going to do, he put his pet goal.
Thing is that if you're not, we're not very it won't when anyway. I can't tell this. I can't without last story.
Actually,
people about revenue thing and all this stuff. Speeding. I mean, my get you. My old thing. We're very the whole thing. The whole thing. What not.
Oh, no.
Really,
and the
Cameron.
Contact. Really, Alex.
I think we're not speed. We're pragmatic.
No.
We're in Australia. Come to that matter. It's like it's a cry erase this sort of.
But run.
But goal.
What's it?
What he was and he put going to do. His pet
thing is that
goal.
If you're not it won't. We're not very anyway. When I can't tell this story without like.
Actually,
there's people get revenue thing about thing and all stuff. But if I mean my speeding, my old get you. We're very nothing. The whole thing. What not the whole thing. Or really.
Oh, no.
And the
contact.
Cameron.
Alex. Really.
We're not to think with speed pragmatism.
No.
We're in Australia like that matter. It's just cry this sort of erase. But
run.
My
goal. And what he was going to do, he put his pet goal.
Thing is that if you're not, we're not very it won't when anyway. I can't tell this. I can't without last story.
Actually,
people about revenue thing and all this stuff. Speeding. I mean, my get you. My old thing. We're very the whole thing. The whole thing. What not.
Oh, no.
Really,
and the
Cameron.
Contact. Really, Alex.
Think we're not speed. We're pragmatic.
No.
We're in Australia. Come to that matter. It's like it's a cry erase this sort of.
But run.
But goal.
What's it?
What he was and what he put going to do. His pet
thing is that
goal.
If you're not it won't. We're not very anyway. When I can't tell this story without like.
Actually,
there's people get revenue thing about thing and all stuff. But if I mean my speeding, my old get you. We're very nothing. The whole thing. What not the whole thing. Or really.
Oh, no.
And the
contact.
Cameron.
Alex. Really. I think I've actually drawn Lewis in the.
We're not to think with pragmas and
No.
British strings like that matter. It's a cry this sort of raising. But
run.
My
goal.
was it?
And what he was going to do, he put his pet goal.
Thing is that if you're not very, it won't matter when anyway.
The coolest station online. Yeah.
Hi there, this is your Royal Ruler on RTI. We're live and in colour.
RTI.
That's us. 'Cause we play this.
RTI.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
You're never more than a minute away from the music on RTI.
That is the station, HJPPY.
RTI.